So we're going to be using the Liquify command. And the command is used by professional photographers to correct images. And that's what we're going to be doing here. People also like to use it to distort. So we're going to go back into Military Macaw, and I'll show you how to do a couple of distortions. Because we're going to be adjusting the image, we are going to duplicate our background. And we're going to rename it Liquify Correction. And then we're going to go into Filter, and we're going to choose Liquify. Let me pull this over here so you can actually see it. Came into my screen very large. Okay. Now, the command we're going to use is a push left. And it works to kind of trim off unwanted areas in an image. And so you activate the command. And for this particular image, I'm going to keep the brush size fairly small, but I am going to go up to at least 100%. I usually like to be more than 100%. And if you're working on the left side, you kind of start, and I don't usually start right on the image. I kind of start over here, and you just kind of drag down. And you see how it's kind of pushing that in. And so we're kind of getting rid of that. And you do have to be a little careful. See what happened in the background there? And I'm pressing Control, Alt, and Z. It should let me kind of back out of that. So that's one thing you have to watch out for when using the command. Now, we could clone and fix that, okay? So we kind of fixed that over here. And now we got to work on the other side. Now over here, because we're on the right side, we kind of have to go from the bottom up. So again, we're going to kind of start off, and then I kind of move into the image, push it in, come up here. Back out of that. It actually doesn't look too bad. Again, you have to kind of be careful. And I'm not going to worry about this. I mean, I could try to push it. There is a push tool. But I'm not going to worry too much about this because we can clone. We could actually erase this part because we have the image underneath. There's a lot of things we can do to correct this area. The focus was more on kind of trimming her up a little bit. And most people actually like this, especially in photographs of themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, if you're doing this and you have massive problems, click on Restore All. It goes back to the original, and you can start all over again. And so you can see how that kind of brought everything in. And the background doesn't even look too bad, but to save a little bit of time, all I would do here is kind of erase, because underneath I've got the image, but now I can see a little problem over on this side. I don't know if we want to erase too much because we actually moved her. So over here, I would probably do a little bit more cloning. See, we're starting to get the outline of her leg there, which is a little bit more problematic. I think that's the outline. Yeah, you can kind of see that coming in. So what we would have to do is use our clone. Just kind of clone over that. Look. Very carefully. Because if you're photoshopping something, the last thing you want is for people to know that you photoshopped it. So I think we've kind of sufficiently fixed that. That side doesn't look too bad. And now we're back out at 100%. So at this point, we would save the changes. And again, that's after the correction, and that was before it. A little subtle change. Now we're going to go to our little bird friend here, and we're going to make him look real funny. So we're going to turn off the blur layers. And we're going to duplicate our background again. And we're just going to call this new one Liquify. Okay, and the two layers above should be off. We go to Filter and Liquify. And just to give you a little practice with some of these other tools, with the forward warp, we're going to use a little bigger size. The bigger the brush size, the more intense the effect. And we're just going to elongate our bird buddy's nose here. Okay, so we're not going to be nice to bird. And you have to have a fairly big brush to get the effect. Zoom in a little bit. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use the bloat, and we're going to make his eye bigger. Let's see, brush around 40. I've got mine at 35. That'll work. Just click on it a couple times. And so bloat makes things bigger. You've got the forward warp that you can kind of pull things with. And then we've got pucker, and that kind of sucks everything in. So we're going to increase or set the size at about 100. And then we are going to click on the bird's middle just a couple times. Okay. Sucking it in there. And then we'll click OK. So poor bird, now he looks all distorted and deformed. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save the changes.